Welcome for this video on the Vijnana Bhairava tantra, a collection of teachings on spiritual awakening. Today we will see two verses from that collection. First one is 131, Sanskrit and translation of that verse. Ahaṃ mamedam ityādi pratipattiprasaṅgataḥ nirādhāre mano yāti taddhyānapreraṇāc chamī. This is mine, or I am this is mine, etc. On the occasion of such cognitions or intuitions or perceptions like I, mine, mano yāti, the mind reaches, or attention goes to nirādhāre, that which is without support. The mind becomes without support. Taddhyānapreraṇāc, by the strength of that contemplation, on contemplating on those occasions, by the strength of putting one's attention, one's whole attention onto what manifests clearly, nakedly on those occasions, chamī, one becomes healed, one becomes at peace, but healed in the sense of being healed. Shama here is to be healed, especially from fever, but from any sort of ailment. So, all the time during the day, we say, I want to do this, I should do that, I am big, I am ugly, I am successful, I am a failure, I like potatoes, and so on. And this house is mine, this is my wife, those are my children, this is my country, this is my mission, those are my clothes, etc. So there is always I and mine. So on many occasions every day, and even in our dreams, the I, the me, the self manifests. But what am I? What is the self? So on those occasions, without forcing anything, there is no need to, because those perceptions, those cognitions, those intuitions occur of their own accord every day in daily life. On those occasions, I can look at what I am. And then the mind, which is turned usually outside, not paying attention to itself, to its own source, goes to nirādhāre, to what is without adhara, without support, without ground. The I, the self, the me, the real me, because usually the me is identified with things, or even if not identified with, it gives its whole attention to things outside, including thoughts and mental images, because in fact all images, even sense perceptions, are mental images in the sense that they are fabricated, forged, made by the brain, or at least by consciousness. Consciousness makes images like an artist, like a painter, and it pays attention to its own creations, but never to herself. So on those occasions, when I say I, mine, this is mine, this is my precious, on all those occasions, there is a powerful moment, a spontaneous moment, a powerful, all the more powerful that it is spontaneous moment to turn around and to discover who I really am. Beyond all objects, beyond all situations, beyond all possessions, beyond all that I believe I am, beyond all I believe I have, to go back to the pure I am, to the pure me, to the pure self. There is no need to say what it is, if it is not, because probably, most probably, it's beyond the capacities of the mind. It's beyond being and not being. It's beyond this and that. We say sometimes consciousness, awareness, space, sky, emptiness, and so on, silence. But all those are mere pointers, even though pointers are very powerful, as we will see in the next verse. But just by meditating on the natural feeling of I am, not the idea, the abstract idea of being, but the feeling, the physical feeling of being, the physical feeling of I am, the feeling that you feel in the guts, not some kind of abstract witness, pure consciousness, not like that, but rather finding in oneself, that is, in one's body, but not in one's objective body, as others can see it, but in my subjective body, as I feel it, as me only can feel it, to plunge in that feeling. And we discover then that that feeling is nirādhāre, without ground, it's wide open, it's nowhere, it has no form, it has no shape, but it is very real, and it is a feeling, and you can say that it is a gut feeling, a very basic, a root feeling, something very raw, naked, given. It's not fabricated. It is somehow subtle, but it is very raw, like fear, like hunger, like hunger, like wonder. It is something which is very real. You don't need to think to perceive it. It's direct, it's intuition, the intuition of me, the intuition of I am, the intuition of I, just bare, naked I. So like this, daily life can become a field of exploration and discovery, and a field of practice, and a field of bliss. Because of course, if in the end I were not to discover any kind of wonder and bliss and amazement and accomplishment and realization in that, it would not be worth the pain. Prema eva brahma kevalam. This is a quote from the commentary by Shivopadhyaya. Svatma prema eva parameshvara bhajanam. Devotion, love of the Supreme Lord, Lord of God, love of God, love of God. Parameshvara bhajanam, love of God, or participation, devotion to God. Svatma prema eva is the love one has for oneself, because God is the self. One has spontaneously love for oneself. But if the self is God, love for oneself is love for God. It is bhakti. Atma bhakti is Ishvara bhakti. So prema eva brahma kevalam. The divine, the ever-expanding one, is love only. Prema eva kevalam. Prema eva kevalam. is love itself only, nothing more. Ityādi. So what we need is not less egoism, is not less egocentrism, centeredness, is rather more egoism, paradoxically. It is by going in the direction, in the natural direction of egoism, that we can get rid of the so-called ego, which is artificial me, not the real me, which is the limited me, not the real me. So, paradoxically and contrary-wise to what it's looking like, um, we should not go in the opposite direction of egoism, but rather realize that egoism is divine love, is unconditional love, as we say today, unconditional love. So, devotion to the I am, devotion to the I, raw feeling, plunging in that raw feeling, is divine love, is unconditional love. This is bhakti or bhajanam. This is divine love. So divine love is somehow spontaneously accomplished because we just have to follow the natural trend. As the Brihadaranyaka says, the oldest philosophical text in India and perhaps in the world, everyone loves herself or himself. Not just loving one's body, because I don't love my body for my body. I love my body for myself. I love everything, not for everything, but for myself. The love that we have, the attachment that we have, the passion we have for anything, for anyone, is for oneself. But what is that self? So we should go to the end of that movement, of that natural, of that spontaneous movement, to taste directly what is that self for which we love everything else. What is that ultimate object of love, of attachment, of passion, of desire? What is it? What is that self? I love everything, but I love everything for myself. But what is the self? Next verse, 132. Nityo vibhur nirādhāro vyāpakaś cākhilādhipaḥ śabdān pratikṣaṇaṃ dhyāyan kṛtārtho rthānurūpataḥ. So here it says, pratikṣaṇaṃ, every instant, dhyāyan, one should contemplate, śabdān, those words, nitya, eternal, always present, vibhur, powerful, nirādhāre, we saw it in the previous verse, without support, baseless, groundless, that is, not depending on anything. This is what it means. Not depending, not having any need, not depending on anyone, on anything else. Nirādhāre, not depending on anything, being independent, being free. Vyāpakaś, all-pervading, pervasive, pervading everything, real or unreal. cākhilādhipaḥ, king of everything, or emperor of everything, ruler, master of everything, of the whole, complete king over everything. So meditating on the meaning of those words, pratikṣaṇaṃ, at every moment, all the time, kṛtārtho, one becomes someone who has accomplished their meaning. Kṛtārtho, someone who has reached the goal, because artha means both the goal to reach and the meaning of the words. And truth it means also, and it means also wealth or profit. So someone who has accomplished truth, profit, meaning. How? Rthānurūpataḥ. Because of the power of the meaning of those words. Because every shabda, every word has a meaning, an artha. And there is a natural relationship between those, especially in Sanskrit, which, as its names indicates, is the perfect language, not only the language of the gods, but the perfect language. And therefore, it has a special natural power. The Sanskrit language has the power to say what is, to say reality, to mean reality. And all languages do have more or less that power. There is a natural relationship between words and reality. It's not just pure fabrication, as some linguists would have it nowadays, or even before, like the Buddhists, for instance, who say that there is no natural relationship between words and meanings. Words do have some power of meaning, truth, and that's why they work. That's why in daily life, language usually work, because there is that intimate relationship. And that's why, even though the absolute is beyond words, we can use words, or at least some words, to point to the absolute and to help us recognize the absolute or the divine in our present experience and as being our present experience. And that is possible because some words are pointers. They have that innate, that natural power to point at the divine essence of everything, our real nature, the absolute. Just like in the previous verse, it was I that has that power. I am has that power, and it is one of the name of the divine. We can find it in the Old Testament, I am that I am. We can find it in the Bhagavad Gita. We can find it in Kashmir Shaivism, in non-dual tantra here. Ahaṃ is the supreme mantra, is the supreme name of the divine. And that's why we can say ahaṃ. This is what was recommended, advised by such a sage as Ramana Maharshi in India in the 20th century. Just to say mentally, I am, without adding anything, not putting it to service the desire for wealth and recognition of the individual, as is done, for example, as in the New Thought or in the New Age movements. I am rich, I am wealthy, I am big, I am great, etc. No, just I am, or just I, or just even the beginning of I, the desire to utter I. That's enough. That is a very, 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 very powerful pointer. Just like eternal, I am eternal, I am powerful. So here he's saying a little bit like the New Age way of practicing, but it's not in the sense that I, the individual, is powerful. It's rather that I, who am the infinite being, who is everything and beyond everything, am powerful. I am all-pervading, because to say that the individual as an individual is all-pervading, is everywhere, is containing everything, is not really meaningful. It's not true. The individual is not eternal, is not always present, is not all-powerful, is not absolutely free, is not all-pervading, is not omnipresent, is not the king of everything, is not the mistress of is not the mistress of all. So this is true only for what is truly so, and this is what those words are pointing out. Our true nature, my true nature, your true nature. So this is an explanation of the meditation through names, through words, through spatial words that have a spatial power to point at our true nature and to help us recognize that transcendent divine entity in ourself, in our present experience. Here and there, I am that. I can feel it, I can see it, I can hear it, I can touch it. All my senses is telling me I am that. So this is the paradoxical aspect, dimension of awakening, because it's hard to say it's the individual who realize it looks like, but in fact it's not the individual. It's me, but I'm not the individual. The individual as an individual, as limited in space and time, cannot realize anything. But even in daily life, the individual as an individual does not perceive anything, does not think anything, does not desire anything, does not hear anything, does not do anything. Only the universal consciousness can do, act, desire, will, perceive, think, hear, touch, see. Only what is infinite can perceive what is finite, this and that. So in fact, I am always the universal consciousness, playing the game of being that character you can see here on the screen. And that's a game in the sense that it has no goal, because universal consciousness doesn't need anything. Of course, it plays the game of need, because it is desire, it is relationship, it is becoming, it is evolution, even though Kashmir Shaivism does not speak of evolution, but it is at least like a dance, it is a walk, krama, it is, yes, there is something like a cyclical evolution at least. There are cycles, like breathing, like heartbeats, like the cycles of creation and destruction, like the day and night, like birth and death. And so, through those words, we can realize directly what is beyond words. Very simple. So that's all for today. Thank you for listening, and see you next time.